All right, we're back. Another episode of the Sound Powers podcast today for the second time. Mike Mitchell, everybody. Woo!
Yeah, what's going on, dude? How are you?
Good, man. Thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad. You got the quarantine hair going on, just like me, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't had a
Yeah,
haircut in over a year. It's been crazy.
over a year.
Yeah. It's fucked. Man, we actually have something super exciting to talk about this time. You got a show coming out. It's just fucking awesome. This is the thing on Fibe.
Yeah, Bell 5 TV1. Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah.
Man, so like when did you like start writing this? Like what like I don't know, just talk me through like how this all even happened. Like I didn't even know. All I just like randomly just see this trailer and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah. So I started talking to Bell about this in I want to say like February last year,
Mhm.
February-ish. And it was like right before the plague hit and the world ended. So we kind of kept in touch. And I told them my basic idea, and they said like, okay, cool, yeah, that seems like it might be pretty interesting. Let's keep in touch. We'll see what happens with these lockdowns and blah blah blah. So I kind of kept in touch with them like every step of the way throughout pitching, and then we formally pitched in like I want to say April, like mid-April. Um, didn't get the green lights on this thing until about July, but between April and July, I kind of had a feeling that we might be able like that. I thought we were onto something. Like I wouldn't have
Mhm.
pitched if I didn't think we were onto something. So myself and Tyler Shazma and Brandon McIntosh were the like production team behind this. We just started like diving right into pre-production so that if we did get greenlit, we could just go ahead and already have a bunch of stuff done, so that we weren't as much in a time crunch on things. So yeah, so we got greenlit in July. Um, yeah, started shooting, started finalizing things and casting everybody and getting all of our stuff together, getting like partners and sponsors and whatever. Started shooting in October, November. We shot over, I think, 6 days, 5 or 6 days over that month. And then we had to take December off because of some COVID stuff where a few of us were on lockdown and isolation. And our main camera guy, his main gig is working on Property Brothers. So he actually went down to Nashville to shoot a season with them. So he's coming back now. We actually we're not done. I mean, we're 80% of the way done, but we're done enough that we could put a teaser together and all that fun stuff. So yeah, we still have one more shoot day, end of February, but we're kind of on track to deliver everything for mid-April. So it'll be on TV in April, hopefully.
That's that's awesome. That's interesting that you like only did the shooting started in October. I thought it was like way before that because I saw a scene in the trailer that was at the Winking Judge, right?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
closed now.
Not only are they closed, but they sold. The
Yeah.
owners sold to somebody else. So there's still going to be a bar. It's still going to be the Winking Judge.
Mhm.
But yeah, new owners are taking over. That was actually one of the first scenes that we shot. It just yeah, I paid them to take over the whole bar on a Sunday and just we're in there for a few hours and
So
doing
like
stuff.
as far as my understanding goes, the show is about like um kind of like Hamilton and like maybe like a YouTuber, a musician and a comedian. Is that kind of the thing?
Yeah, kind of, yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. So it's about two guys that work at a record store, myself and my
Hmm.
coworker Tim. I'm trying to be a comic. He wants to be a YouTuber. And then we got bands into the show because we work in a record store and kind of like dream and plot about not working at a record store. So there's in-store performances and bands kind of drop in and out at the record store. There's some stand-up. There's a lot of stand-up in it too, not just with myself, but like Jason Allen, Anthony Malekis, Mike Moses, Manolis, Pat Coppolino, Barry Taylor from Comedy Records is going to be in it too. Yeah, there's like we got a lot going on, and and the thing is too, like it's it's a season, it's 5 episodes, but they're 12-minute episodes, so it's really only like an hour of content. And it is like it's been mind blowing to me to see how much work actually goes into making an hour of something.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, I had no idea. So yeah, whatever. It's fun though. It's been interesting to say the least.
Yeah, man, I think it's a super good idea. It's super cool that you're like involving all these Hamilton comedians and stuff. Um, and it's good like you're doing like not just a show about comedy, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if this was like a strategic thing, but I think you'll get like a broader audience, right? Because you'll have people
Mhm.
that are into like music and stuff, or hopefully, right, that'll watch it. Um, rather than like just people that want to watch stand-up comedy kind of stuff.
Dude, yeah, 100%. And like the bands we got like legitimate international touring bands and artists to come out and do this that are like Hamilton based.
That's sick.
Some friends and kind of like hoping. I almost said this is the thing. This is the thing with Canadian comedy though, is like you could be super well known and outside of like comedy circles, nobody really knows who you are. So it's not
Hmm.
like we could really rely on star power. Like Fiona O'Brien, hilarious. She's an awesome comic. She's a headliner. She's got an album out. She's really funny. She plays a part in the show too. But if we were like, yeah, Fiona O'Brien's in this, some people would be like, oh, that's awesome. But most people would be like, maybe I've heard that name. I don't know. Like people definitely don't know my name.
Yeah,
Um, you know what I mean? So it's like we're kind of relying
everyone
on.
thinks you're Kim Mitchell, like in the
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. So I mean, yeah, man, it's kind of like, yeah, totally strategic, but trying to get kind of jump on the coattails of people that are like way more successful of us, more successful than us, and yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's working.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Like, it's like it's so fucking exciting. Just because like if like there's no sets going on right now, you know what I mean? It's cool that you're like out there doing stuff with comedy still. Uh, and like that's like the route I think. Like it's like the smart route to become successful. You know what I mean? Like even if
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
like even if the show becomes successful, you could still keep doing the show and you can do comedy and you can do all kinds of stuff, right? It's like I really think this is like you getting your foot in the door, and it's only gonna get bigger from here.
Oh, dude, thanks. I
Mhm.
really hope so. That's like that's one of those things too. Like when you start comedy, obviously anybody starts comedy. Like, why did you start? Because you like making people laugh and you're good at making people laugh, right?
Mhm.
That's what you want to do. Then you start getting sets and someone's like, yeah, here's $20 for gas. And you're like, oh, I can make money doing this. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
And like my goal has only ever been to make enough to make a living at some point.
Mhm.
So I mean, like this is like Canadian TV. There's not money in Canadian TV at the level that we're at right now. But I mean, I didn't have to fork out any of my own money to pay to get this show made, and like that's a huge win for me. Um, and yeah, it's like a legitimate credit. Like it's fun, man. Um, yeah, and that's the thing. Like I wanted to make sure that I put a lot of comedians in it because like these are guys that have helped me out. I'm obviously gonna do whatever I can to help them out. And if they can say like, hey, I was on TV, here's me being funny on TV, check this out. Like maybe it leads to bookings or whatever, right? So I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
whenever shows become a thing again, I don't know when that's ever gonna be a thing again, but maybe in the summer when backyard shows can come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's also you're doing that because like I think like I want us all to succeed, right? Like all of like our comedian crew or whatever. I don't even know what to call all the like comedians and, but you know what I mean. If one person does well, it's better for everybody. You know what I mean? We're not like competing against each other. We're almost like competing with each other.
Dude, 100%. And that's the thing. I think people get like tripped up with this kind of thing. Like one person's success doesn't mean you're failing. It just means
Hmm.
that they're successful with something else. And like ideally everybody lifts each other up. There's like it's such like a backwards mentality when somebody does anything well and they're doing awesome with it to be like, oh, fuck that guy. He's succeeding. Why not me? It's like, well, maybe he's just doing something different than you are. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything.
Hmm.
It's relative, dude. So yeah, I mean, ideally, hopefully we can like get a second season because like I have a bunch of ideas um, to kind of get other areas involved. The thing with Five is that it's supposed to be like locally focused programming.
Right.
So for us, it's like Hamilton, Niagara. And
Hmm.
I said to them, I was like, this is cool, man. Like, let's focus on Hamilton when we first started talking about this. Let's focus on Hamilton for the first bit. If we get a second season, like, there's a sweet ass club in St. Catharines, Showtime. And there's like a lot of really good comics in St. Catharines and Niagara Falls that like we can go shoot out there and say, and like bring these people into it and say, like, hey, man,
Okay,
like,
I better be on the second season then, buddy.
Imagine I didn't. I brought it up. It's like, actually, Sav, I don't think so.
Yeah, you're not good enough. Sorry, buddy. No, no stupid ukulele on this show.
No, absolutely, yeah. But that's the thing, man. Like, of course, I'd have you out, and of course, like, that's. I'm kind of approaching it from, like, I'm not anybody. Like, I middle at clubs sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
You've
I'm not a
headlined
headliner.
before a couple times, though,
Yeah,
right?
I've
Yeah,
headlined a few times, yeah.
Mhm.
But like, for the most part, for like where I am
Mm-hmm.
an occasional middle. I'm not middling all the time yet, which is fine. But like, you don't really see shows where people kind of lose. like like the protagonist is usually winning at some point. Like, I eat it all throughout the season. Like, I do not do well with
Oh,
comedy.
on the show even.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where it's like, because it doesn't go like that, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we've got like an open mic scene at the Winking Judge, where it's like, you've done the Judge, you've been there, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's pretty faithful to what open mics are like, especially at the Judge, where there's some people, but like, no one's really paying attention. There's like drunk people, you get heckled, no one gives a shit. Like, it's real. It's very real.
I think the first time I did my song was at the Judge, and it killed. So it's like that place is like a special little warm spot in my heart. It made
That's
me
awesome.
sad that they like sold it or whatever. But yeah, you're totally right. It was like it's so small, and it was like mostly just comedians every time. You know, at least half the crowd is comedians. And I,
Yeah,
I like how you did that with the I'm so excited to watch the show, but with the kind of showing like the truth of the comedy scene, right? Because um, there's like a movie about battle rap. Fuck, I forget what it's called.
8 Mile.
No,
No,
not
that's
that
not it.
one. It's like a newer one, but it's just like so fake and like Hollywood, and it just pissed me off because like as someone that was like actually involved in the battle rap scene, it's like nothing like that. And everyone was like all the battle rappers, they got like a bunch of battle rapper cameos, kind of like you're doing with all your comedian friends, but they were all like characters of themselves. None of them, they were all fake. None of them were like genuine, and it just like pissed me off. And it seems like you're actually going for more like less caricature. You know what I mean? It seems like I don't know.
Yeah. No, no, no. That's like, we've been trying to be super conscious about that, because that's the thing. It's when you like try to gloss it up. It's even with Hamilton too. Like, Hamilton is such a good, like, I love Hamilton so much, and it's booming right now for film production, and you're getting tons of stuff shot here.
That's
But
awesome.
like, Umbrella Academy shoots in Hamilton, but
Hmm.
they dress it up to look like Texas. We're just leaving it as is. Like, it's Hamilton's ugly sometimes. Like, there's some places that suck, man. Um, so we're trying to make it like as real as we can possibly make it. Obviously, like, the characters are like a little bit exaggerated. Like, nobody. It's kind of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Right.
where it's like, it's the real person is like in there somewhere, but it's like an exaggerated. Uh, yeah, a bit of an exaggeration in some spots, but
As long as it's not like too over the top, then I'm happy. And you need that, right? Otherwise, the show would be boring if it's just
oh
like,
yeah.
you're having a smoke, you're like not even talking.
Yeah, three comics just sitting around outside. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? I don't know, like one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got like the comics talking shit at the back of the room, and all kinds of stuff. So it's yeah, it's pretty real. It's sometimes a little bit too real. Like, looking back at the edits, I'm like, oh god, like, I've done that mic before. Like, it's
Yeah.
awkward.
So like, I don't think I've ever seen a show that was like just about Hamilton. You know what I mean? Have you? Or like even based in Hamilton? There's a
No,
lot of
no.
shows like based in Toronto. You'd think there'd be at least one. So it's cool. You might be
That's
like a pioneer.
Dude, that's kind of what I'm hoping. And like, I get it. I get why people kind of gloss over Hamilton and want to go for Toronto, and Toronto's the center of the universe if you're from Toronto, right? But that's like, Hamilton's got this amazing comedy scene, music scene, just like a general, like, an amazing art scene that kind of gets ignored because it's so close to Toronto.
Yeah.
And like, we're sandwiched in between too, like between Niagara Falls and Toronto, where you can go to Hamilton. It's like, yeah, but if you just drive a little bit further, you go to the falls.
Hmm.
Or if you drive a little bit past Hamilton the other way, you can go to Toronto or whatever, right? Yeah, there's another show that just came out on Five called Pink is In, and it's like a female prison comedy, kind of like Orange is the New Black,
Right.
and that's set in Hamilton. So I was watching that last night, and like they go to Hess Village and they go like different spots around Hamilton. And it's cool that it's like it seems like the city's actually getting a bit of due for the
So
first time in a
if it's
while.
a show about women in prison, why are they going around Hamilton? Like, you know, what I mean,
Well, I
they
don't
just
want to
like shooting in
spoil
the
it.
prison. Yeah, like
Yeah.
with sorry to interrupt you, but with
No, by all means.
five, do you have to like watch it on the TV? Can you watch it online or whatever? Like,
So as long as you have a Bell subscription,
mhm,
you can watch it on TV or you can watch it on the Bell website. It's accessible either way. Now I've seen other Hamilton shows. Actually, I shouldn't say that there's not shows set in Hamilton. There's another show called B.A. Johnson's Ham Jam, but that's more of like a documentary style thing.
mhm.
This musician, you ever listen to B.A. Johnson?
No,
Dude, he's
never
right
heard of
up
him.
your alley. He is right up your
All
alley.
right, I'll check B.A.
Yeah,
Johnson. Okay,
yeah, like badass Johnson.
nice.
So BA's in the show, and he's got a bunch of stuff set around Hamilton too. But um, yeah, it's like I don't know, man. I'm hoping this catches on. I'm hoping that
Mhm.
more
Me too, man.
productions like just start setting things in Hamilton, or maybe kind of selfishly hope they don't, and we just kind of stay the only game in town doing it. But
Yeah, but like the reason I asked like how you watch it is because like
mm,
all the people that want to support you, if they don't have Bell, like they just
I
can't.
know.
You know, that kind of
So
sucks.
yeah, no, for sure. And the reason I bring up BA is I found out about his show on YouTube.
Hmm.
So it's available on Five, but he also has it on YouTube. So I think I have to look into our contract, but I think we'll be able to get it up on YouTube at some point.
Okay, cool.
Um, but yeah, it'll live on Five for the first little while anyway.
So like with the show and like shooting during like all this COVID bullshit,
Mhm.
does COVID like make an appearance in the show or anything? Like, does it?
We had one line referencing sort of.
Mhm.
But for the most part, like we actually were just talking about that the other day. So let's short answer is no. In this universe, it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's like we ended up cutting it, but there's a part where my coworker gets like right up close to me to say something. I'm like, oh, dude, you smell like Corona. Um, and like we looked at it like, yeah, let's just cut it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not great. Um, but if we do subsequent seasons, depending on what like the state of the world is, we're probably going to have to introduce it with like people wearing masks and all of that stuff. Like it was fine shooting during COVID, um, because I mean film sets are kind of exempt for the most part because everyone's kind of sticking in their own bubbles and you have to do temp checks and it's the same sort of thing, but it's a very restricted environment. But we still had like everyone was wearing masks before and after the scenes. I mean, you just take your mask off when rolling was called and put it right back on when cut was called. But luckily, we didn't have to put it in the show. But I've seen shows that like I know Grey's Anatomy is doing it right now, and like This Is Us and shows like that where like they have people wearing masks where
Grey's
COVID is,
Anatomy is still going. That's
dude.
crazy.
Yeah, man, it's wild. My girlfriend's been watching it. She like started from the beginning, and I don't know what season she's in, like 7 or 8. And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty long time. But it's like 2011 is when it aired. It's like Jesus, that's
That's
so
wild.
long ago.
Yeah. So like with the COVID shit, it wasn't that too much of a challenge because like with comedy clubs and stuff, you couldn't really have like an audience. Like, how would you
Yeah.
work around that?
So the comedy club scenes are actually that's the last scene that we're shooting. So we're gonna cheat it a little bit. Um, any of the time that we needed extras, or like customers in the record store or whatever, like we had a few extras,
Hmm.
but we had crew. We had honestly like we changed out wardrobe for crew and just had them kind of walking around and whatever. So we're probably going to have to do the same thing for the comedy club scenes in
So
end
you
of
might be
February.
able to find the same person as an extra multiple times in the background.
Oh, there's more. There's more than an off chance of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely a few instances of it. Um, but the nice thing too is like the scene that we're shooting at Levity, like the inside scene,
Hmm.
is supposed to be like the am night, like not an open mic, but like the am night. So if it's sparsely attended, that's par for the course, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not necessarily going to be a full room all the time. But yeah, we'll cheat it a little bit and make it look way more full than it actually is.
Like, do you know like when shit's gonna be opening up back again? Like, I know, like, is it anytime soon? I
I
miss
have
comedy so
no
much,
idea.
bro.
I know it's I have no idea, and like it's getting to like a weird spot too, because like people are just sick of it, and they're sick of
Mhm.
being inside, and they're sick of like restrictions that change weekly. It kind of seems like there's
Mhm.
new guidelines all the time. um I don't know. I didn't go to Showtime. Were you at Showtime when they're sort of operating?
Yeah, every week it's like Mark just had like the Niagara Region comics on every
Yeah,
week.
which
It
is
was kind of
fair. Which
sick.
and
Yeah.
actually it's a great great opportunity for you guys,
Hmm.
right? Um, yeah, that's like it's tough to do. Like I saw Absolute Comedy was doing it where they had like a plexiglass screen in front of the stage. I know Levity didn't do that, but Levity had the front row of tables like 8 feet back
Hmm.
rather than 6. Excuse me, so that you kind of get away with doing stuff and everything was spaced out. Like I did a spot on the opening weekend when Levity reopened, um, and it was sold out, which is awesome. But sold
Hmm.
out was 50 people. Like they could
Yeah,
only
yeah.
really only cap it at 50 people.
Mm.
Um, and it wasn't like a tight 50 people like right in the middle. It's like people just scattered here and there all over the place. So
Hmm.
like people would laugh, but it's nothing was sustained. It was like I don't know, man. That backyard show that you and I did that weekend of backyard shows were sweet, and that was the closest thing other than Levity, I guess, to like actual like real shows.
Yeah, that was great. And at the time, I was just like, whatever. But now looking back, it's like I didn't know how good I had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and like everyone was treated so well. Like it
Yeah.
was, you want a beer, you want some snacks, what do you want? We have it all here. It's like sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was great. It was such a good setup too. Like, I would love to have a backyard show like that. It was just and like 2 days, it was awesome. He like sold out, so he had to do another day. It was
It
just
was killer.
yeah, it was cool. I
Yeah.
loved like I wonder if he's gonna do another one this year.
I've been talking to him about it. He's got like tentative plans to start doing some.
Hmm.
Like again, like weather dependent and all that stuff. I think it's gonna be weird to see like everyone did it last summer, or the people that did it last
Hmm.
summer. I shouldn't say everyone, but everyone that did it, um, kind of they did it out of necessity, obviously. I think that people should still be doing it, even if
Hmm.
clubs and stuff open back up. Like it's a good time to get a bunch of people out, and it's people genuinely want to be there. They're not going to go hang out in someone's backyard for a few hours if they don't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna get like hecklers or people talking and
Totally.
stuff kind of deal.
Yeah, you
It was
like
such a
you'll
good show.
maybe get people talking, maybe, but for
Yeah,
the most part, it's like people that don't know any better, and it's like,
yeah.
all right, whatever, man.
There was like some kids playing next door in their pool or whatever, but you can't even get mad and yell at them. They're like at their own house, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
having
want
the
to be like,
time of
shut
their
up.
lives. You know what? I did a show out in Newmarket in the summer at Snapped. You know those like those free local papers that you get sometimes, and it's like
Oh
people
yeah,
just go
yeah,
around.
yeah.
So it was like their head office is out in Newmarket.
Hmm.
So I went out there, and just on the other side of the parking lot was like a little ravine, but like a big park, and like there are kids like playing and screaming and all, like having a great time. What are you gonna do? You're gonna yell at these people outside because they're having fun? Like
Yeah.
it's I guess it's interrupting, but you're interrupting them with your bad jokes. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. One thing that was good about doing like Showtime every week is like it was forced me to actually write some new jokes because I was doing the same shit for so long.
Hmm.
Have you been like writing at all now that like we don't have like
Oh
can't go do
God,
sets or
I'm
anything?
trying, man. I did a thing. I posted on my Instagram in like December. I was like, "Hey, I am in this like writing funk. If you have like, give me some ideas, and I'll start writing jokes." And I had 43 responses, which is sweet.
Hmm.
But now I'm like, "Fuck, I got to do 43. I got to write 43 jokes because I said I
You
was
don't
like, yeah."
have to. You could just pick your best things or whatever.
No,
But
I know, but
yeah,
you know, I like made a point to say that, like,
yeah.
hey, give me suggestions. I'll perform them. I'll put them up on Instagram. Thinking like, I don't know, maybe like 5 people get back to me. So I've been like trying to plug away at them. I think I've written maybe 3 jokes in the last 2 months, and like they're not good jokes. They're like
Yeah.
they're just the beginnings of jokes. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to stay motivated when like
Hmm.
you don't know when you're going to get back on stage again and get to actually perform them.
Yeah,
I
for
mean, it's good.
sure.
It's good practice, but it's still, yeah, it's tough.
And like the lack of inspiration is there too. Like I don't even know what to write jokes about. Like I'm not outliving my life experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the last
yeah,
like real joke that I wrote was about this lady pantsing me in public. Like this like 50-year-old lady. Like that happened, right? Like
that's hilarious.
that's not happening. I can't be writing jokes at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I think the last note that I have in my it's so stupid. Uh, Female version of Hooters called Dooters. That's not even funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, smoke
It
another
made
bowl,
me
Mike.
kick.
That's yeah.
Yeah. How much time do you think you have total? Like an hour?
Oh, I wish. No, I could like comfortably. I could probably do like 20 to 25 that I know
Mhm.
will do well. Um,
Same. Yeah.
I can do 30, 35, but that extra 10 minutes is going to be dicey.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you know what? I actually I'm doing a Zoom show in February and I'm supposed to do like 25, 30 minutes. I was like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. I was like looking through my stuff. I was like, ugh, God, this is all right. This is gonna be. I'm gonna have to remember how to be a comic. I'm gonna cheat though. I'm totally gonna cheat with it because I'm gonna do it like a 2 monitor setup. So like I'll maybe just put like another monitor right behind my camera. So I'll just be like,
Mhm.
okay, so and just like reading off my
Yeah. Yeah.
reading out the teleprompter.
That's what's sick about Zoom for sure. One of
Yeah,
the
oh for
good
sure.
things.
Well, like I watched David Green sent me an invite to one of the last ones that he did, and I was just watching. Al Val was on it, and
I watched that one too. That was actually great. He gets a lot of people in there. There was like 50 people or something.
dude, I was shocked. I
Yeah.
was shocked because that was the first one that I'd actually looked at like that I'd attended or whatever since the first month of the pandemic. Like I watched a couple in the first month when people are like, "Oh, let's do Zoom,"
Hmm.
and I got so immediately turned off by the first one I watched because there was improv in it, and some of the improv people were like, "Okay, cool, so give us some suggestions. You want it bread? Think I heard bread. Okay, cool." It's like, what? No, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like this is improv is a tough sell. I'm not shitting on improv
Hmm.
right
No, shit
now,
on it, please.
but um, it's a tough sell at the best of times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, you really
Hmm.
need energy and like feedback from people to really get into it. But when you're sitting behind a computer screen and you need suggestions and you need like instant feedback. Stand ups, obviously, you want instant feedback with stand up, but I don't know. Improv seems like a little bit too crowd dependent to be able to do well on Zoom anyway. I
Right.
don't know, man.
Yeah, I haven't watched any improv on Zoom, but so whose show are in February are you on? David's?
No. I was talking to him about doing a show, so possibly, but Matt Serena from Hamilton's doing something with the Hub of the Hammer. I think Fiona O'Brien is headlining.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a charity thing or like what they're doing it for. Um, that sounds weird to say like what they're doing it for because like shows used to happen all the time
Just
just
for
to
no
have a
reason.
show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But now it's like, so why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why do I have to pay attention?
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So have you done any Zoom shows at all? Or is this gonna
Oh
be your
no,
first
not a
one?
single one. Yeah, I'm
Oh
gonna have to
wow.
like, yeah.
That's
Um,
crazy you held out for like a year.
well, yeah. My whole thing was like, I don't want to like. I just want to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And then when, because I mean, this all started happening in spring,
Hmm.
spring-ish, end of winter, early spring, right? So I was like, I guess I can probably just hold out until people start maybe doing backyard shows or clubs open up, which is exactly, excuse me, exactly what I did
Hmm.
when I started doing the Tuesday shows at Absinthe. I think that was like the first set, and like I was so pissed with myself. I remember I did a spot at Absinthe, and like I did jokes. I had new jokes, and I was gonna work on them. And I got up there, I was like, I just got to get a laugh, man. I don't want to like do anything that might go bad. And like I didn't do well, and I forgot tags of jokes that I've done hundreds of times. Like I
Fuck, I
got
hate
upset.
that.
Like, what the fuck did I just do, man? Like it's like it threw. I honestly felt like the first like month that I was doing stand up. It's like so that was 5 years ago. Like I was
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this is like the longest I've gone without doing comedy. You know, like the first lockdown was less than this. So it's like when we come back again after this, it's gonna be like starting over again. You know what I mean?
oh yeah.
It's gonna suck. It's like fuck. It's so weird. Like I was doing it like I'm sure you were too, like at least twice a week
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I
for
was
so
going.
long. And then just to have that like ripped away from you, it's like now what do you do, you know?
Dude, it's like it's working out, right? Like it's exactly like working out.
Hmm.
It's a muscle that you have to train. And there was times where like I did a headlining spot in Oshawa during the lockdown. Not lockdown, like there's still restrictions.
Right, in the
And it was
summer or whatever.
fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, in the summer, and it was fine. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I had a really good set. I was happy with it. I did 25-ish, I think. Um, but it was like work. Like you know how sometimes you do a set and you're like, oh, you're just on autopilot. It's
Hmm.
like this kind of fucking sucks, but whatever. I'm gonna do my time and I'm gonna try to get through these jokes that I've done a million times and see what happens.
Hmm.
Uh, I was like not struggling, but it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked it to be. Like I think that it was 25 minutes with at least a minute to 2 minutes of like just killing time or like doing crowd work to like get to the next kind of thing. Like I don't really do crowd work. So to do crowd work, so I'm like, yeah, what the fuck comes next? Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Like
Yeah.
that's weird, man. It's weird.
So that was that like the last live show you did, or do you remember the last one?
Um, hmm, I might have been. Yeah, I could go back through my calendar and see. I'm gonna check it right now. This is
That's
compelling.
pretty sick. The last one you headlined at least. 'Cause the last show I did was Adam Wicked's show. Um, it was in just some crappy basement for like 4 comics. Yeah.
Hey, that's all right though, man. It's like that's how it goes.
It was actually a
Uh,
pretty good last night of comedy because like the comics that I did see I've never met before and they were all actually really funny.
damn, you know what? I can't even. I'm looking through my calendar here. It's not even like anytime. So it would have been August,
Damn, that's
August or
crazy, bro.
September. Oh my god. Comedy in Grimsby, comedy at Levity. Yeah, man. September, maybe September or possibly October. I don't know, but um, yeah. And then like right around that time too, like I was still trying to do some spots to kind of just keep that going, but
Mhm.
we were still like doing pre-production on the show and trying to get everything ready for filming. So I was doing less. I was still writing though, because like we were still punching up scripts and trying to make sure that everything was good and as tight as it could possibly be. So it wasn't necessary. It wasn't like I wasn't doing jokes. I just wasn't performing jokes. And it's gonna be like another. I mean, the show comes out in April. It'll be another 2 months before I get any kind of payoff on jokes that I wrote over a year ago
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point, right? Like, or almost a year
yeah.
ago.
How do you guys like divide up the responsibilities of the show or whatever? Like, did you all like write it together and then?
Um, Sort of. So like we're kind of all hands on deck with everything. So
Mhm.
the way that we did it was like I would write the outlines and like some like basic like plot points that I wanted to hit and jokes that I thought would fit in different spots. And then Tyler and Brandon would do the same thing for like we divided the episodes. We're like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll do episode 1 and 5. You guys do 2 and 4. We'll all collaborate on 3, and then like we'll just kind of go through. So um, yeah, like the majority of the writing was done by me. The majority of like the story was done by the 3 of us. But like I said, like Tyler and Brandon um, would do like a lot of story and a lot of just pushing the plot forward. And then we would kind of go through like just a bunch of different revisions of jokes. And yeah, like there's the stuff too is like with the comics, we wrote general guidelines for them, especially for the stand up stuff. But a lot of it was like I'm not gonna tell you what jokes to do, dude. Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
pretend that you're at an open mic, like if it's a crappy open mic, do what you would do. Um, Here's what we kind of want you to say to push it forward, but however you get there is totally fine. So Tyler Shazma is directing it, and like he's a legitimate director. Like he's done a bunch of stuff. He's done a bunch of stuff for Tyler Morrison and some legit comics. He shot. I don't know if I can say this. I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. That not
30
that like, dude,
people.
no,
15 to
you
30
have
people.
you have a lot of subscribers and
Yeah.
you get good views on your videos, but it's a Brent, about Brent Butt. He shot a Brent Butt special. Like
Oh,
right.
that's crazy. That's awesome. Corner
Yeah,
gas.
for sure, man. But that's like I don't know how much of like a corner gas Brent Butt fandom like overlaps with yours. But I feel comfortable saying that. I don't know if that's ever gonna see the light of day. I have no idea because that was shot a while ago. But he's a good director. Brandon is a good director of photography. Our camera guy, like I said, is like a Property Brothers guy. Um, yeah, we got like a solid crew, and we kept it really tight. Like Shazma, I know Shazma through comedy, but he went to film school, and he's got a ton of contacts with like sound guys and just people that he's come across and worked with throughout the years. So when it came down to putting an actual crew together, we just pulled a bunch of people in.
Yeah.
And luckily we were able to pay them something, not a lot, but money when no one's making money right now. So
True, man. Like that's awesome. And even if like the show isn't successful or anything, you still like you're getting experience. You know, you're making connections. Like
yeah,
so, like
100%. That yeah. Sorry,
mhm.
go ahead.
No, that's basically it. Yeah.
No, that's what I was gonna say though. It's like even if it bombs and nobody
Yeah.
cares about it, it's like I got to make a TV show. That's pretty cool, and it'll just push me to the next step of okay, now I know other people in the industry, and maybe I can get a writing gig, or maybe I can get a producing gig, or whatever. To like keep doing that as a day job, and then trying to hustle and stand up whenever stand up becomes a thing.
Yeah, and like just to have that as like a thing to go back and watch and like a thing to be proud of that you created just
Oh
seems like
yeah.
an awesome thing. You know, like I would love to have like a TV show that was actually on TV. Like that's so fucking cool, you know?
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's yeah. I fully agree. It's one of those things where like even when we were doing it, there's like a few times like we'd call cut and I'd look around. I'm like, are we seriously making a fucking TV show right now? This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. This is awesome. I can't believe that people are gonna put this on TV. Like the dumb ideas that we have. It's
Yeah,
weird
it's
too.
fucking
There's some
wild.
weird stuff in it, but I think it's interesting. I'm biased, but I think it's interesting.
So like the people from Vibe or whatever, I'm assuming that they have to watch your thing and like give it the go ahead. Is there anything that you wanted to do and they were like, no, you can't do this?
So I don't know yet.
Mhm.
We've like kept them in the loop on a few things. They basically like gave us a few guidelines that we kind of have to stick within, so, like content wise. But I've watched some other Five shows, and there's some jokes and like references and whatever else that are a little more risque than anything we have. So I'm like,
Mhm.
if they can get away with this, I think we'll be okay with our like we swear in it, but we bleep it because it has to be bleeped.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
that's cool.
fine. But it's more so like the joke content that I was like more worried about. We have this one character, Roadie Rick, who's like he used to be a roadie for Teenage Head, and he like just like 80s bands, right?
Mhm.
And he's one of those dudes that just talks your ear off, but he's drinking in public and like very obviously drinking in public. I was like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get away with this. Um, and then I watched a couple of the other Five shows. It's like, oh, they have people drinking right there. That's straight liquor rather than a guy having a beer. Okay, I think we're gonna be okay with this. Like, because
Okay, cool. Because
stuff
that's
like
like
that.
part of something that I've dealt with a lot in comedy. That I was like, I want that to be part of the show. I was like, you
Oh
need
my
that
god, yeah,
guy because like that guy is so common. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It
and
just
like
won't shut the fuck up.
the heckler that's like had like a couple too many drinks, and
Hmm.
you're just like, come on, man. Like, yeah, I think we did a pretty faithful, and like shooting stand up is so hard to get it realistic. Like I love watching shows with stand up. I love watching Crashing and like even Louis Seinfeld stuff like
Hmm.
that, where it's like very obviously a sanitized environment. Like this is not really what it's like.
Hmm.
I think that we do a pretty good job of keeping it faithful to what an open mic is legitimately like. Um, yeah, yeah,
So many people like don't know too. Like when I tell people that I do comedy or whatever, the things that they think I do are so funny. You know?
yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's like no one knows what an open mic is, and to me, like it seems so obvious. You know what I mean? They're like, they think that I have like sometimes they think I have like a contract with a club, and I only go there like every week or whatever. They get paid.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, so how much you making tonight? It's like
yeah, I'm not making
nothing.
shit ever. Yeah,
Yeah. I'll maybe get gas money if
yeah.
someone's generous, or like I don't know.
I think I've gotten paid $50 like 3 times or something. I've headlined, which was pretty fucking sick. I was
It's
like
pretty good.
super, yeah. When I get one day, I'll get paid $100, and I'll be so happy.
Man, that's all you can ask for. Just
That's the dream.
yeah. As long as your gas is covered. My whole thing was like, as long as my gas is covered, I'll be happy with it. But then I started doing shows where like, yeah, like they're bigger crowds and you're getting like legitimate money. And you look back on it, it's weird though. Like comedy, the way comedy pays is so it's like back pay for all the work that you've done. So anytime
Yeah,
that you get like a decent kind of paycheck or paycheck, like just fucking whatever, right?
yeah.
It's like cool, I got $50 for this, but I did how many open mics where I got paid nothing to get to this point? Okay, cool. So it's really like a wash.
That's
But
actually a really good point. It is like that. It is like almost like back pay.
yeah, totally. Or like you like you know what? I remember the last show that I did. It wasn't the one in Oshawa. I was out in Kitchener. Um Sandy McFarlane has an awesome show, Rusty Nail Comedy, and the bar, I guess, a restaurant, not really a bar that put it on, put out like this wicked spread of like whatever you wanted to drink, whatever you wanted to eat. It was all there, and I was
That's
like,
awesome.
"Thank you." And you're gonna pay me on top of this? This is
What?
sick. Like
Yeah,
now I
that's
don't
so
have to
sick.
stop at Wendy's on the way home
Mhm.
and get whatever. So like, yeah, like it's nice. It's nice to get paid in something other than food. You can't put food in your gas tank.
True. Yeah.
You could. I mean,
Um,
it's gonna ruin your car, but
so last time you were on the podcast, you were already doing this show. It was like in the production, right?
yeah, yeah,
But
we were doing pre-production on it.
you had to keep it on the low because you didn't know if it was for sure gonna happen or not.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Do you have any other secret projects going on?
Kinda. So
Ooh, interesting.
yeah, there's we actually it's funny. So in order to get paid from Bell, I had to be a production company. So I had to
Hmm.
like go out and get a business number and a tax number and all that kind of shit.
Oh, that's crazy.
Now I own technically a production business. So I was like, all right, well, if I have to like have a bank account to be able to get paid for this shit and put money into it, I may as well try to drum up some other business. And we've been lucky, like we've had some comedy people and some comedy adjacent people approach myself or Shazma or whoever to be like, hey, can you guys start like developing this? You guys now have connections now. So we're currently working on another scripted comedy that's in like the really early pre-production stages where we're still like writing and punching some stuff up. I can't say who it is. Um, not like anything ominous. They want to keep it on the DL.
Right,
Uh,
right. I get it. Yeah.
a few other things like some like documentary stuff that might come our way. Yeah, there's a couple of definitely some interesting projects that we have in the works. I'm hoping, and that's the thing too. We started to do some pre-production on a second season for the show anyway, like writing down some like basic script ideas and plot points, just in case we do get picked up. Um, I hope we get picked up, and if we don't, okay, cool. I think I don't know. We got like the feedback that we got from releasing the teaser was crazy. I was not expecting that
Yeah,
whatsoever.
everybody fucking loves it. And like there's that one guy that like retweeted it or whatever.
Oh,
Um
dude, it's been crazy. Yeah, Alan Cross posted about it.
yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, Yeah, I knew what you were saying. I was picking it up.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
just like, man, this thing's blowing up. I was like, when I first saw it, it was like 10 of your friends has shared this thing or whatever. You know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck?
yeah, and I kept getting tags
Yeah.
in it, and like that's awesome. And I thought that like some of like my close friends and family would share it,
Mhm.
and the same thing for like Tyler and some of the other comics that were in it. I was like, okay, we'll maybe get, if we get like a couple hundred views on this, that'd be cool. Um, and like views don't necessarily gauge interest.
Mhm.
They do, but they don't. Like you can get some inflated numbers when people start watching the same thing 3 or 4 times. Like I probably watched it 20 times. I saw the teaser before it went out. I don't
I
need to watch
watched it
it.
at least twice. Your dance at the end is fucking hilarious.
Thanks, man.
I think it was at the
Yeah,
end. Maybe it was in the middle.
yeah. It's yeah near the middle and the end.
Yeah.
When we shot that, that's B.A. Johnson that's playing that song.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
so we just did a take of him playing in this alley, one of his songs live, and I just do like a bunch of dumbass dances in front of him, just trying to get him to like crack. Um, it's a minute and a half, the song, and like I was winded for at least 4 hours. Dude. It's the worst shape. Like when I was done that, I was like,
hilarious.
it's like gasping for air. Yes, I don't know. So hopefully, like the interest kind of carries over. We got some other stuff that we're still sitting on right now. Like we have that's just a teaser. Like we have an actual
Mhm.
trailer. We have a 30-second and a minute trailer that are going to come out probably in the next month or so. That are like color corrected and actually sound mixed, because like there's not really dialogue in the teaser. I think Tim says not cool, Mike. Excuse me. We've got the hipster couple, Rochelle Lozon and Darren Menezes. They both say something, and that's
And there's a shot of Jason on stage, I think.
right. Yeah, and yeah, Jason talking to Krista McNaughton, who's knitting in the crowd, just
Yeah.
unimpressed knitting.
I would love to see that in an actual show. That'd be so funny.
It would be the best, dude. I was like, so that character was Shazma's idea. I was like, why are we gonna do this? He's like, dude, I used to go to this open mic, and there's this lady that used to sit in the back and just knit. There's like her bar that's like she'd go and just like have a beer, just sit there and knit. It's like, oh my god. All right. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I hope that we kind of get some momentum going, and yeah, hopefully the trailer, when the actual trailer comes out, where like there's dialogue and some jokes and a bit of like a plot reveal, will get more interest. I'm hoping.
That's sick. You have like a production company now. So like, what's it called? Do you guys have a name or?
Oh, we got super creative with it. It's called This Is the Thing Media.
What about when you make other shit?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's like Shazma and Brandon own their own production, like a videography production company as well, called Silver Drop Media, and I've worked with them previously. But in order for me to get paid, I'm like, it doesn't make sense for them to go through that. It's like it's bullshit tax stuff. But now I have to like keep trying to drum up business, or like try to do something with it. There's no point in just like sinking money into to get like your business name and all that shit. It's not even like it's a lot of money to do, but it's
maybe like specials. Like if your comedian friends of yours want you to shoot a special or something, would you be down for something like that?
Oh my god, yeah, gladly. And that's the nice thing too, is like we've got a good production team that have done this stuff. Like a lot of the guys that shot Brent Butt's special with Shazma, he brought out to do to work on This Is a Thing.
That's so important too, because like if something's like a little shittier than like you're used to, it's like people just turn it off. You know what I mean? It's gotta
they
have
write
that
it off
quality.
immediately.
Yeah.
No, it's like cinema quality. Like it's and it's crazy to me. It's like I've never made anything for TV before, obviously, and the first thing that I get to make is 4K. It's like, oh, it's like the highest definition that exists right now.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's wild, man. It's so cool. Like, what inspired you to even start this? Like,
I needed something to do, to be perfectly honest. Like, and I had this idea for a little while. So like going back a few years, I used to host a punk radio show on Y108 in Hamilton, and we had like my co-host and I, we had an idea sort of the same like a few years back to be like, okay. And like we were even gonna call it This Is the Thing. Like it was like we've had the name for a while that I've been kicking around. And we're like, okay, do we do like a talk show kind of thing where we get bands and musicians on? I just want to focus on highlighting cool shit that I think people would like, if it's like bands or comedians or whatever. I want to highlight that. And then the more that I started working with Shazma on some stuff for my day job, we were shooting bands and whatever else. I was like, you know what might be cool? It's like, what if we did like a show where bands come in and play in the store, and yeah, like it follows these two guys. It's like a loosely, maybe it's like a documentary style or whatever. And then we started like honing in on stuff more and more. So like when I first talked to Bell about it, it's the idea was like pretty close to what it has ended up being, but it was first like, yeah, these two guys that work in a store, we'll bring some bands in, we'll have some comedic performances. It all takes place in the store. Maybe we go to the comedy club, I don't know. And then like we obviously expanded on a few different things from there. But yeah, it's just a lot of people around here do cool shit. And the worst part, I love Canada, but the entertainment star system sucks.
Yeah.
It's so hard to make money, and there are so many talented people that we have no idea about. Like we know about them, like we see them at open mic. Like there's no fucking way that you should be able to go to a show and see someone that like that you should be doing theaters, dude, but you're doing this club or you're doing a bar show in Pickering.
Yeah, Manolis especially is what I would say.
God, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like it's crazy. He should be like a superstar, but you know.
Definitely, man.
But I feel lucky that we like have him. You know, I mean, it's almost like we're like spoiled that he's like not famous. It's like we got this thing that no one knows about. You know.
That's exactly it. And like, and that's kind of the thing too. And like a lot of Hamilton comics will say this, that you know that you're on your way to being a comic, or that you have written a good joke if Manolis pulls you aside at the end of a set to be like, yo, dude, I have a tag for you. That joke you did. Yeah. What if you tried this? And you're like, oh, you were listening. Okay, cool. And then you try the tag and it works. You're like, obviously it works. It's got
exactly.
Like 20 years. Like, why didn't I think of that? Yeah, super lucky to have pros.
And like Hamilton is so special. Like it's weird. Like all like the comedians in Hamilton do like all of Ontario. It seems like, you know what I mean, or Southern Ontario. And I feel like I know like almost all the Hamilton comedians, and I know no Toronto comedians.
Well, okay. So I have a theory about this. I fully agree with all of that. When I first started, Anthony Malekis, I've known Anthony since I was like 8. We played hockey together, and he was a Yucks comic. I don't know if he's still on the roster, but he kind of got me into like paying attention to what was going on with stand-up when he first started. And I went to go see him a couple times. And then when I actually first started, it's like, okay, so you got Pat Coppolino, he's Tom Green's opener when he tours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's been on like legitimate tours. He was a Yucks comic, rostered comic. Manolis is a rostered comic, and he has a Comedy Now special. Gavin Stevens from Hamilton was a Yucks rostered comic. He kind of does independent stuff now, but he has a Comedy Now special. Mace Galone writes for This Hour Has 22 Minutes, and he's open for like Doug Stanhope and like done massive shit.
And he's on the Debaters. I heard him on the Debaters, and I lost my shit.
But that's the thing. That's like, I just named like what, 5 guys like off the top of my head, and that's not even like going back far. And like now, like Jason Allen tours all over, like literally all over the country. And he's in the absolute rotation. Moses is a Yucks rostered comic.
Oh really? I didn't even know that. That's sick.
He's on the Yucks roster. But like stuff like that, man, it's like you can actually point to these guys that you are gigging with and be like, oh, there's a path here. Like these guys are actually doing something. But I think that the reason that Hamilton comic, like you have to travel because there's only so many shows to do in Hamilton. When I first started, there was 6 shows a week. And it's like, cool. So you could do 6 shows and not have to leave Hamilton. And that's amazing. But there's only so much stage time too, because there were so many shows, you'd get Toronto comics coming down, or Kitchener, London, Niagara, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
even Guelph, right? But Hamilton is like, we have the good fortune of being pretty much 45 minutes from everything. Like we're
Yeah.
45 minutes from Guelph, Toronto, and Niagara, and it's an hour-ish to Kitchener, an hour and a half to London. But we travel well because we have to. So you get a lot of like shows in like fucking Delhi, or like little like just whatever. I did a show in Dunnville. I've done shows in like little just nothing towns. I say nothing towns. I don't mean like nothing like substantial
I know
goes
what you mean.
on.
I've done the same shows, and I think it's like a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? Like,
It totally is.
yeah,
Absolutely is. Yeah.
because like
Um,
those Toronto comics has never done those shitty little whatever towns that we've done, and like sometimes even killed. You know?
oh, and that's exactly it. And like you get the thing with Toronto comedy is like it becomes so insular. Like it's super important, and like you have to get into Toronto if you want to get seen and if you want to be
Mhm.
noticed. But there's like certain places to get into, of course. But what I think kind of happens to like their own detriment is they get really good in certain rooms, and they think like, fuck yeah, I'm a great comic. But it's like, yeah, but these are like Toronto crowds with Toronto sensibilities, and like these jokes are not going to work when you go an hour out of the city. Go up to
Mhm.
Barrie and try these jokes. They don't work. Go to Hamilton, and like Hamilton is like it's tough, man. Like the late
Oh
shows in
yeah,
Hamilton,
bro.
like a
Oh
Saturday.
yeah, it's tough.
Dude,
The
like
toughest shows I've ever done have been in Hamilton, bro.
yeah, exactly, man. Like levity is a little bit, levity's still tough. Yucks, like the Saturday night when they would do two shows, the late show on Saturday night, it's like good fucking luck, man. These people are here to get drunk, and like if you make them laugh, you're a killer.
Mhm.
If you don't get them, it probably isn't really reflective on your material. Um,
Mhm.
a little bit it is, but at the same time, like yeah, not really. But it's like a very good like amalgamation of a bunch of different sensibilities in Hamilton, where it's like we're big city-ish, but there's people from the sticks, and there's people from like there's different income, and there's all kinds of different demographics that it's like you kind of have to appeal to all of these things to do well. And I think that's why like Hamilton comics do travel well. And like we kind of have a rep, like when you get out of the city and you go to a town where like maybe like I remember Jason, Doug Koning, and I went up to North Bay and Sudbury a couple summers back, and without fail, there were people that was like, "Oh, you're from Hamilton? Do you know so and so?" And like comics is like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh yeah, they were just up here like not too long ago." It's like, "Sweet, that's awesome, man." It's like, "Yeah, really funny people and blah blah blah." It's like, okay, so that's great. Like you're spreading the reputation of having like a good like good working comics that get out of the city and do well when they
Yeah,
do
that
travel.
that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where it's like one of us succeeding helps us all succeed. Where it's like maybe they hired more comedians from Hamilton because those comedians they had before were so good, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And
Like
it
they could
opens
have
the
hired
door. Yeah.
anybody at Sudbury, you know, if they're gonna pay for their uh whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, pay for anything. Like
Yeah.
yeah, no, for sure. And the nice thing too with stuff like that is like they'll agree in advance on like a decent amount to pay you
Hmm.
rather than being like, oh, I don't know, we'll see what happens at the door. It's like, oh, you're coming from Hamilton? Cool, we'll give you $100 or like
Yeah.
whatever. Um, yeah, no, it's super beneficial to be able to be coming up in Hamilton right now. But like Niagara is quickly turning into the same kind of thing, man. Like you have
Mm.
so many rooms. Excuse me. You've got a pro club. Everyone seems to be working. Everyone helps each other out. It's like the friendliest scene that I
Hmm.
like that I can think of. Um, but the added benefit too of like being a good city like that, where people want to get to, is the comics from other cities that are worth. I say worth. I don't mean it like they're like people are worthless if they're not traveling, but the ones that are like worth getting to know are the ones that are
Hmm.
like trying to make a go of it. So like you'll see these Toronto people in Kitchener or St. Catharines or fucking
Right.
wherever because they're trying to gig and they're trying to get stuff done.
Hmm.
So you get like the added bonus of coming across these people that are actually legitimately working at it and doing well.
The funny
Dude,
thing with
great.
like the Niagara region is like there was almost no comedy scene here like 10 years ago. David Green and Levi basically like
Yeah,
spawned all of us. You know, there's like 10 comedians that came from like Rainforest Cafe because David Green and Levi just
that's
happened
hilarious.
to
Yeah.
work there. You know what I mean? And they like in Hamilton, it's more of like you guys just wanted to get into it and you got into it. You know, it's like you're all like a big group. You're all,
Hmm.
but whereas like in the Niagara region, it's like David Green is like our godfather or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's your Manolis, right? Like that's
Mhm.
he's been doing it long enough. He's like he's a professional comedian. He's got an
Mhm.
agent. He's got all kinds of
Right.
shit.
But
Awesome.
like he also created all these like outlets and like push people to start and keep going. Whereas like,
Hmm.
you know, we didn't have like these places before. Like Showtime is amazing. We're so lucky to have that. But without Showtime,
So
it's like
lucky.
you just have Yucks, which is like impossible for amateurs to get on, right?
Hmm.
Like I've never
Uh,
done a show at Yucks. Have you?
in Niagara, no, I haven't. I've been there a couple times, and just kind of like hung out and checked it all out. But no, I haven't done that. And I know that it's not it's tough to get into stuff like that too, because like you have to get a vouch.
Hmm.
But Yucks specifically is like very they kind of stick with like a small they have a big roster but a small select few work Niagara, um because it's their biggest club or their best club.
Hmm.
um so yeah, I mean it's tough to get on there, but it was good like when we had Yucks in Hamilton and Pat was basically running the show there. You could get on, like you could sneak on and do like a weekend guest spot or start doing weekends. Like I did weekend guest spots at Hamilton Yucks probably before I was ready to. But like it's great. Like yeah, Pat was just like, yeah, whatever, man. I've seen you do well. Here, go do 5 minutes, go do
That's
7 minutes,
awesome,
like,
man. That's
whatever.
sick.
Yeah, but you need those people to like push you, right? And like you totally have that with David and Levi. You got good shit going on there, man.
Hmm. Yeah, we're lucky for sure. It's weird because like if those two guys didn't exist, like I never would have started and I never would have continued for sure. It's
Sure.
just
Yeah,
weird to
and
think
yeah,
about.
yeah, you
Hmm.
need that. You need someone to give you a push, but also to be like, you need someone to give you a push and be encouraging, and also to be like, hey, that kind of sucked. I would do this a little bit differently.
Yeah, exactly. I do appreciate that, like the honesty. Like I've done so many shows, like especially like the first like year or two, where you get off stage and everyone's like, good job, you know, and you know you did shit. And then you have
Mhm.
that one real friend that's like, man, you're rushing through your shit. You're not giving the crowd enough time to laugh. Just slow the fuck down. Quit being so nervous, relax or whatever. And they give you like some actual like helpful criticism, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. And that's I love hanging out with comics for that specifically. Or like you'll think that you do really well and you get off, and your buddy's like, "You fucked that one up, eh?" Like
Yeah, yeah,
I know they didn't notice, but I've seen you do that joke a million times, and I know you fucked that one up. Like,
yeah,
all right, thanks, Doug.
yeah.
Doug's always good for that.
I always say good job though to comics even when they do shit. And sometimes they call me out and they're like, I did trash. And I'm like, I know, it's just something you say, you know.
I'm just trying to be nice. I'm just trying to be
Yeah,
supportive.
yeah. Just tried, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Is there anything you wanted to say about This Is the Thing that we haven't talked about yet? We talked about a lot.
Please watch my show.
Mm.
No, I mean yeah, we've got some stuff coming probably in the next month or so. I think we were aiming for like mid-March, which is bananas to me that is a month and a half away.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's
crazy.
basically February at this point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, follow us on Instagram, TITT period Hamilton. It's kind of it. I mean, yeah, I think we're making a fun little show here. And dude, thanks for like letting me come in and talk about the show and do all
Yeah,
this.
man, it was awesome. It's so fucking cool that you're doing this show and like I haven't talked to you. Like we used to see each other all the time, you know what I mean? At random
Constantly.
shows and stuff. So it sucks not seeing people, you know what I mean? You've always been
Hmm.
awesome, dude.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, you as well. I think the last time I saw you was probably those backyard shows.
Right. Oh yeah. That's
Which,
crazy.
but dude, that's like August.
That's so fucked, bro. That's so
Yeah.
fucked. You look exactly the same.
You know what? I got my hair is super long like this. I got this,
Yeah, true.
but yeah, COVID cut and the COVID beard that I never have the balls to grow normally because I can't grow any facial hair. So it
Yeah,
looks okay
same, bro.
now. And then, like you turn sideways, like oh, it's patchy.
I got the patchiness too. I got 2 little bald spots, you know. Like,
If I just will it long enough, like maybe I can just fill in some
yeah,
spots here, just like sheer will.
it
But
could be worse. It could be worse. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah.
thanks, yeah, I'll take it. Like yeah, it could be worse. I could have like a goatee.
Yeah.
I don't know. Goatees are fine.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Is there any more shout outs or anything you want to say before we cut it?
No, I think this is good. I mean, I think I dropped as many names as I could possibly drop without sounding like an asshole.
Yeah. All right,
Maybe I
thanks,
did. I
man.
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you're the man,
Totally.
dude. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Let's do this again soon.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Maybe after
All right,
the show
cool, man.
comes out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
All right, sick. All
All
right,
right.
peace, man.
Okay, see you, dude.